Let's explore a world of fantasy and imagination as we start reading this story. Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. Aladdin was the only son of a poor widow who lived in China, but instead of helping his mother to earn their living, he let her do all the hard work, while he himself only thought of idling and amusement. One day, as he was playing in the streets, a stranger came up to him, saying that he was his father's brother, and claiming him as his long-lost nephew. Aladdin had never heard that his father had had a brother, but as the stranger gave him money and promised to buy him fine clothes and set him up in business, he was quite ready to believe all that he told him. The man was a magician who wanted to use Aladdin for his own purposes. The next day the stranger came again, brought Aladdin a beautiful suit of clothes, gave him many good things to eat, and took him for a long walk, telling him stories all the while to amuse him. After they had walked a long way, they came to a narrow valley, bounded on either side by tall, gloomy-looking mountains. Aladdin was beginning to feel tired, and he did not like the look of this place at all. He wanted to turn back, but the stranger would not let him. He made Aladdin follow him still farther, until at length they reached the place where he intended to carry out his evil design. Then he made Aladdin gather sticks to make a fire, and when they were in a blaze he threw into them some powder, at the same time saying some mystical words, which Aladdin could not understand. Immediately they were surrounded with a thick cloud of smoke. The earth trembled and burst open at their feet, disclosing a large flat stone with a brass ring fixed in it. Aladdin was so terribly frightened that he was about to run away, but the magician gave him such a blow on the ear that he fell to the ground. Poor Aladdin rose to his feet with eyes full of tears, and said, reproachfully, "Uncle, what have I done that you should treat me so?" "You should not have tried to run away from me," said the magician, "when I have brought you here only for your own advantage. Under this stone there is hidden a treasure which will make you richer than the richest monarch in the world. You alone may touch it. If I assist you in any way the spell will be broken, but if you obey me faithfully, we shall both be rich for the rest of our lives. Come, take hold of the brass ring and lift the stone." Aladdin forgot his fears in the hope of gaining this wonderful treasure, and took hold of the brass ring. It yielded at once to his touch, and he was able to lift the great stone quite easily and move it away, which disclosed a flight of steps leading down into the ground. "Go down these steps," commanded the magician, "and at the bottom you will find a great cavern, divided into 3 halls, full of vessels of gold and silver. But take care you do not meddle with these. If you touch anything in the halls you will meet with instant death. The 3rd hall will bring you into a garden, planted with fine fruit trees. When you have crossed the garden, you will come to a terrace, where you will find a niche, and in the niche a lighted lamp. Take the lamp down, and when you have put out the light and poured away the oil, bring it to me. If you would like to gather any of the fruit of the garden you may do so, provided you do not linger." Then the magician put a ring on Aladdin's finger, which he told him was to preserve him from evil, and sent him down into the cavern. Aladdin found everything just as the magician had said. He passed through the 3 halls, crossed the garden, took down the lamp from the niche, poured out the oil, put the lamp into his bosom, and turned to go back. As he came down from the terrace, he stopped to look at the trees of the garden, which were laden with wonderful fruits. To Aladdin's eyes it appeared as if these fruits were only bits of colored glass, but in reality they were jewels of the rarest quality. Aladdin filled his pockets full of the dazzling things, for though he had no idea of their real value, yet he was attracted by their dazzling brilliance. He had so loaded himself with these treasures that when at last he came to the steps, he was unable to climb them without assistance. "Pray, uncle," he said, "give me your hand to help me out." "Give me the lamp first," replied the magician. "Really, uncle, I cannot do so until I am out of this place," answered Aladdin, whose hands were, indeed, so full that he could not get at the lamp. But the magician refused to help Aladdin up the steps until he had handed over the lamp. Aladdin was equally determined not to give it up until he was out of the cavern, and, at last, the magician fell into a furious rage. Throwing some more of the powder into the fire, he again said the magic words. No sooner had he done so than there was a tremendous thunderclap. The stone rolled back into its place, and Aladdin was a prisoner in the cavern. The poor boy cried aloud to his supposed uncle to help him, but it was all in vain. His cries could not be heard. The doors in the garden were closed by the same enchantment, and Aladdin sat down on the steps in despair, knowing that there was little hope of his ever seeing his mother again. For 2 terrible days he lay in the cavern waiting for death. On the 3rd day, realizing that it could not now be far off, he clasped his hands in anguish, thinking of his mother's sorrow, and in so doing he accidentally rubbed the ring which the magician had put upon his finger. Immediately a genie of enormous size rose out of the earth, and, as Aladdin started back in fright and horror, said to him, "What wouldst thou have of me?" "Who are you?" gasped Aladdin. "I am the slave of the ring. I am ready to obey thy commands," came the answer. Aladdin was still trembling, but the danger he was in already made him answer without hesitation. "Then, if you are able, deliver me, I beseech you, from this place." Scarcely had he spoken, when he found himself lying on the ground at the place to which the magician had first brought him. He hastened home to his mother, who had mourned him as dead. As soon as he had told her all his adventures, he begged her to get him some food, for he had now been 3 days without eating. "Alas, child," replied his mother, "I have not a bit of bread to give you." "Never mind, mother," said Aladdin. "I will go and sell the old lamp which I brought home with me. Doubtless I shall get a little money for it." We're going to pause the story right now, but you'll be able to see the rest of the story in the next video. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Bye-bye.